Hey guys, today I wanted to make a video about fasting and the potential downsides of fasting. So this video is more so directed to the population that is doing very frequent fasting. They're already pretty healthy. They're already at a healthy body weight, and not so much directed at people who are overweight or obese, because I do believe that fasting has more benefit to those people who are in that body weight range or are insulin resistant or even diabetic. So I want to preface this by saying, first off, I do believe there's a lot of benefits to fasting. Like I said, it's one of the best things, I think, for promoting insulin sensitivity and reducing insulin resistance, for managing body weight, regulating hunger hormones, all that good stuff. Autophagy, of course, that's a whole topic of conversation. That's like a huge buzzword, obviously. And I also want to preface this by saying I've done quite a bit of fasting myself. I've done the typical like 16-8 for about 2 years. I did OMAD, 1 meal a day, for about 3 months. And then I've done a few 3 day water fasts as well. So I've kind of done a little bit of the typical fasting modalities. I think for a while I was convincing myself that I saw a lot of benefit. It was definitely really empowering to beat food cravings and to kind of know that I didn't need to eat. That was probably one of the biggest benefits, I would say, is like rationally I knew that I could get away without eating. It was really empowering in the sense that like if I was in dire straits, I knew I could still perform without eating. And that was, I mean, that was huge for me. Typical standard American diet eaters would say that they are, slaves to what I call the blood sugar roller coaster. It's really powerful for beating that. Just moving forward, that's like probably the biggest thing I think I'll take away from it. And just knowing that, yeah, like I don't need to eat. I can still perform. So when I was doing OMAD, which was, I think, yeah, that was last year, kind of in summertime. Or no, that would have been 2 years ago. Holy moly. 2 summers ago, I was working a pretty physical job at a factory, waking up at like 5 a.m., working out every day, fasted, going to work, not eating, and then coming home and eating 1 meal a day over the span of, I'd say, about 2 hours. And looking back on it, I thought I was doing well. My energy was pretty stable. There were a couple times actually where I almost fainted. I do vividly remember that. And I was on top of my electrolyte intake. I was using electrolyte drops, lots of sea salt in my water and everything like that, staying hydrated. So still not 100% sure why that happened. Could have still been electrolytes, could have been blood sugar, but I kind of pushed through it because I was like, fasting is healthy. This is the right thing to do, and I kind of ignored signs from my body. So that's like the first thing, is that if you're getting signs that fasting isn't working for you, listen to your body. Don't just hop on the bandwagon and do it, because I find a lot of people do it for body weight loss, body fat loss, and like it sucks, man. It really breaks my heart that people are so aesthetically driven and I get it, man. Like I still am too, but that they're willing to ignore signs from their body and just kind of push and push and push. And I do think there's a balance that needs to happen. I definitely think that we should be able to push through hunger signals, at least recognize that like that first signal that you get doesn't necessarily mean like I need to eat right away. There's a really good theory that like that would have been the first indicator for us to then go start hunting, which would obviously take some time to kill the animal, skin it, yada yada. So it's not necessarily a signal that you need to eat like immediately. Also, forgive if there's any noise in the background. They are doing construction on my building, but like it's gonna be ongoing for the next couple months, so I can't just not make videos. So I kind of ignored signals from my body, and I was also definitely hypocaloric for most of it, meaning that I was not getting enough calories in during the day. There is no way, shape, or form that I was working a physical job, averaging like 20 to 25,000 steps a day, plus lifting, plus exercising every morning, and trying to cram enough food in a 2 to 3 hour window, let's say. Just wasn't happening. So you don't want to be hypocaloric for too long. Hormonal issues for sure, metabolism dysregulation, like that's going to happen. If you're going to fast, I think OMAD works for some people, but especially if you're trying to fit in whole foods and only eat whole foods, they're satiating. It's pretty difficult. I am a fan of focusing on protein as the primary macronutrient. And let's say the average person who, in my opinion, aiming for zero point 0.8 to 1 gram um, protein per pound of lean body weight, 130 to 160 grams of protein, animal protein, like that's really satiating. And I think you're going to have trouble getting in enough calories on top of that in such a short eating window. So I think 16/8 can work for a lot of people, or even alternate day fasting. That might have been a better option because at least that way you can ensure that on the days that you do eat, you can, if you want to be in a caloric surplus, you can. Also, like considering going back to the one of the last videos I made about stress, fasting is a stress on your body. There is no doubt about that. It's beneficial in a lot of ways, but I really do think people are overdoing it. Again, this is directed at people who are kind of in the know about health and nutrition and they are already at a healthy body weight. And I just think that there might be better ways than fasting all the time. I think for myself, what I follow now, I eat breakfast about an hour after I wake up and I finish eating about 3 hours before I go to bed, and I don't snack throughout the day. I have either 2 or 3 meals. So that gives me usually about a 12-hour fasting window. And I don't even have to think about it. Like, people know, like, if you're doing fasting, you can get really wrapped up in it. Man, I was like worrying about brushing my teeth and chewing gum. And like, I remember one time at this job, a couple years ago, I wasn't thinking, like, I had a piece of candy. My buddy offered me, candy or whatever. And I was like, oh yeah, you know what? Like, I can have some candy right now. Like, blah, blah, blah. I'm burning away my muscle glycogen, my liver glycogen, yada, yada. And then I was like, oh shit, I fucked up my fasting. And it's like, I don't think it's a good mindset to be in. It's much better if we can kind of naturally incorporate fasting without having to worry about it and stress about it. And not that I recommend it, it's probably easier for people to incorporate if they are eating a lot of processed foods, because then you can still reach your calorie goals. I know there's the whole talk about calories in, calories out, but like, I stand firmly behind the fact that being hypocaloric consistently is a bad idea. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I'm going to try to keep this video a little bit short. Please give me any feedback, comments, questions, that type of thing. Of course, like I said before, I love talking about this stuff and I'm happy to answer any questions. Yeah, thanks for listening. Take care, guys.